So I'm going to say the word fart a lot in this episode, so let's just get all the giggles out right now. Fart, 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 fart. Okay? Great. Swiss Army Man is a 2016 film directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. Hank is marooned on an island. Preparing to hang himself, he spots a corpse washing up on the shore. The corpse still has excess gas and somehow has the ability to propel himself across the water. Hank uses the corpse to cross the ocean and come home. The corpse appears to come alive again. Hank names him Manny, and the duo travel across the forest to make it back to civilization. Along the way, Hank teaches Manny about life, love, and friendship. Hank is introverted, depressed, shy, and unlucky in love. He fears social situations, especially romantic, and worries what the world will think of him. Manny does not understand this, saying whatever comes to mind without a filter. Manny sees a picture of a woman on Hank's phone, believing it is his own phone instead. Hank lies to Manny in hopes of bolstering the corpse's spirits about his chances for love. Hank and Manny wonder if they should ever rejoin society since they have found companionship with each other. Manny learns the truth, eventually forgives Hank, and forces his friend to visit the woman in the phone. It is revealed that Hank does not actually know the woman, or more accurately, she does not know him. As paramedics prepare to take Manny away, Hank escapes with him, and to the surprise of everyone, the living corpse is able to propel himself out to sea again, confirming that Manny was more than a figment of Hank's imagination.
You're like the multi-purpose tool guy. You're special.
In Swiss Army Man, the body becomes a metaphor for the entire human experience. It's messy and disgusting and has an inevitability of decaying. Hank teaches Manny about being alive through the only thing the corpse can understand, his own impossible body. Manny gets an erection, and both he and Hank are terrified, much in the way that people are ashamed of sex. Hank eventually calms him down, tells him that he is not disgusting and that it is perfectly natural. Yet, in spite of this logic, we don't always think that way about sex. We have attached so much shame to it. And that brings us to farts. Manny does not understand why Hank is so embarrassed and uncomfortable about farting. Manny farts all the time, he can't help it, and he doesn't understand why society would find this so forbidden. Hank does not have an answer for it, only that it's weird, and that people don't like it when someone is weird. The farts are the film's catch-all for shame, for embarrassment, hiding who we are, hiding our shame, hiding what we don't think people will like or accept, hiding our farts. We all suffer through the all-seeing eye of society, always watching, always judging, but some people have it worse than others. Hank is clearly an introvert, and more than that, he obviously suffers from some form of social anxiety disorder. He is incapable of talking to other people. It sounds so simple to people who don't suffer from this anxiety. It just sounds so simple to walk up to someone and speak, but for some, it is so crippling. It is insurmountable because the fear of embarrassing yourself is so great that it makes the whole thing seem impossible, and heaven forbid you actually do something to embarrass yourself, because that will be a constant, intrusive thought for days, if not weeks. Hank also teaches Manny about human waste, a metaphor for death, the garbage of what we once were. So where is the intersection between farts, meaning being ashamed of oneself, and love? As Hank and Manny grow closer due to their experiences and make-believe courtship, they find that they should not be ashamed of love, and that a loving version of yourself can be your true self. You can have honest experiences when you are in love instead of being in a relationship and hiding who you really are. Because that's what people do. They go on their first date and hide all the crazy and all the baggage. And even when two people become comfortable around each other, that does not necessarily mean they will have honest experiences with one another. It could mean that they are simply as comfortable as they can be, as comfortable as they are permitted, and not share their true self, only the best, most socially acceptable version of themselves that is worth seeing and worth dating and worth loving. Love can be full of shame. Hank is ashamed of himself for how he feels about this woman he does not even know, and his shame, his unwillingness to speak to her, results in him being basically a stalker. The police find pictures of the woman on his phone. The details of how they came to be are never properly revealed, but we can fill in the blanks and put together that they were not attained consensually. When confronted with this, Hank simply says that she seemed happy and that he was not happy. Her reflected happiness was something he needed. This vicarious experience of being comfortable with another person was something missing in his life. It's hard to tell people that you're lonely. It pushes people away. People don't like to be around people when they are sad because they are worried irrationally that maybe it's a sickness, and that if we're around these sad people, these lonely people, that maybe we'll be sad and lonely too. People hide these feelings, these terrible, terrible feelings, and do not share them with others because reaching out for help makes us feel so vulnerable, and if we reach out and nobody takes us by our hand, then it is confirmation of what made us feel so lonely in the first place. This dread that maybe we are not worthy of being loved. That maybe if we were better, we wouldn't be lonely in the first place. That maybe if people keep their distance from us, there is a reason, and that the reason is inside us and not external, and that is so hard to face and so miserable to live with. At the end of the film, the paramedics speculate about Manny. They claim that based on the state of his body, the most likely cause of death was suicide, that he was a bridge jumper, and that it happens all the time. They say that nobody will claim the body because nobody ever does, and that he will be disposed of. Again, the film tells us about how disposable we see other people. Garbage that is not wanted anymore. After Manny encounters another person besides Hank, he immediately opts out of humanity, judging existence itself to be too painful. But in the end, he resurrects himself to prove the claims of Hank. The ending to Swiss Army Man is so hopeful and beautiful, and it tells us that when something looks like death, looks like the end, it's actually just a change, and life can begin again. Hi everyone, if you like what I do, please click on the orange Patreon link below. That's how this show happens. It's also the only way to request an episode. Also, there are other benefits to pledging, so check it out. The information is on my Patreon page. I'll see you next week.